Hi everyone, Mikey Bly here with another Object Show interview. It's been a while, but it's overdue, and we've got Agus with us today, the creator of Hype, um, who is joining us for a lovely little chat to go over the show and inspirations and all that kind of fun stuff. How are you doing today, Agus?
I'm doing very well. Today is, well, let me check my window. Okay, well, it's relatively sunny, so I'd say today's a good day for an interview.
That relatively sunny, sunny enough. That's good. That's good enough. We'll take any kind of sun. It is not so sunny here, but that's fine. It doesn't need to be sunny for me to talk. It's all good.
Exactly.
Oh, geez. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to sit and answer some of my inane questions today. And I'm going to get cracking with the question I always like to start off with, just, to get to know how people even get started in this stuff. So, how did you even get into art, animation, and just all this, the creative side of things?
Okay, so I mean, as to art in general, there isn't really that like detailed of a story. For context, I grew up in Venezuela until I was 6 years old, and I still have like vague memories of just like drawing in, like just liking drawing like in general.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I was like 3 years old, just like drawing. If you want to know what my first fandom was before joining the Object Show fandom, it was the Angry Birds fandom.
Oh, wow.
Which yeah, quite different, but even made some of my own YouTube videos back in the day. But they were more so plush videos.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
which is always a gem to see, like here in the modern times where they're less common. But I'd say I've discovered object shows. Oh yeah, and by the way, throughout all this, I never knew how to make digital art until I got into object shows. But I got into object shows in, I would say I think it was between the hiatus between IDFB one and BFB one. So that would be like um late 2016 to early 2017,
Oh, wow.
where I had a phase where well, I had an object show phase, and the reason I called it a phase was because there was a short break where I kind of forgot about them. But the first object show I ever watched was Object Overload, created by Zanny Leaves.
Oh.
And after that, I discovered more and more until I actually found, until I actually realized that the first ever object show was Battle for Dream Island, which I thought was called BFDI at first. Like I watched BFDIA before I watched BFDI because I didn't know anything about the show. But I'd say I had a short phase. I was all over them, and then I kind of forgot about them for a few months. And then I randomly remembered them one day, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder how that channel's doing. I wonder if they came back." And then I went into the YouTube page. There were the two new videos on the channel called BFB1 and BFB2, and I was like, "Holy crap, they actually came back!" And ever since that day, I've been a fully active object show community member. And as to how I developed my like digital art skills, I guess if you want to call them, um, I got I got Adobe Animate, a pirated version, by the way, which I had asked my dad to get me, which he spent like one like day at midnight just doing that, and then after that day, he told me like, I did this for you, and if you become addicted to your computer, I'm removing it off of your computer. I was like, okay, Dad, thank you. But I had Adobe Animate installed, and because of that, yeah, ever since 2019, I was just drawing. But I'd say I never actually attempted to animate until August of 2023. And I just realized this technically ties into the show because the first person to like I guess teach me was my friend Subby, who is the voice of Party Mob in the show
Oh, wow.
in Hype. But it was because they were doing like a server where they trained people to animate in the style for their show so they could animate um in the more of a rigging like style with rigs, more than like frame by frame.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I knew the very, very basics of like animation, and I slowly worked off of there. In January 2024, we started making hype, and throughout like those 2 years, I slowly and slowly actually started getting better at animating, I would say. I was very good at the beginning, but now I'd say now that the show's finally out, I can say there was kind of a culmination of progress between 2 years. And the last thing I want to mention is that another thing that really helped me um I guess feel inspired and like motivated to continue doing these was object camps, which are like, the online competitions. I'm not sure if everyone how much of a percentage of the object show community know what object camps are, but they're like Discord servers where you like play as your own characters and do challenges and strategy and all of that. And specifically one camp called Camp Award, which was created in 2020 by Silly Lily, who is also a voice actor in Hype. She's the voice actor of Movie Star and the creator of Fight for Fortune. Um, I met a lot of people that I'm still friends with to this day because of that camp, and that's another reason why I've like I continue to stay motivated because I got the opportunity to like create stories with my own characters for like every single challenge and just make comics because of that camp. And yeah, those I'd say those were like my two main sources of like inspiration
Hmm.
or like tutorials, I guess.
The object camps things is really interesting as well, because it seems like it's a great way for people to kind of get a bit deeper into the kind of object show style stuff without having to make a show themselves.
Yeah,
You know, so it seems very cool. I've seen people talking about object camps. I've seen a few people little animations they've done themselves for camps and stuff, and it does seem like such a cool little kind of stepping stone. That's a really cool shout out. So I think it's the first time object camps have been mentioned actually in any
that's
interviews.
well,
Yeah,
it's only fitting
I mean,
as a member
mhm.
from as it's originating from technically 2018 because I actually had camps, but on my YouTube channel. Like there would be one episode, one like small video for every challenge, and the challenge results, and they would just be like over and over again. But I only finished like one season, and then the other season got like canceled.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I mean I was like a baby back in the day, so I wasn't sure how to handle all those.
That's what I've seen people do as well. Post little videos on their YouTubes and stuff like that, and like even in
Yeah,
the Discord, a few Discord servers that I'm in here and there, I've seen people talking about them. So it's really cool. I should, not that I'd ever join one probably, but they are really interesting. A very cool little idea. So how did the idea of hype come about?
I'd say it was a bit of a not complicated, but it came through a lot of steps. So it goes back to, well, I said that it started in January of 2024, but that would technically be lying because it technically started in June of 2023.
Oh.
However, that version of the show wasn't actually made by me. It was made by four of our friends, in this little like server, like just a friend group server that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that we have right now. It still exists. I know I said in the past tense, but it one day at like 4 a.m. they randomly got the motivation to start like just coming up with the most insane ideas, and they created hype, and it was still higher prize E3. That was the plot related to E3. And it was actually a show with 21 contestants, which is different from the real show, which has 12.
Mm-hmm.
And oh yeah, and by the way, the four friends that created it are Alf, who also co-created the hype that you know today with me. Avicon, who is the creator of Shrimpy. Kaya and Xanatic, who also work on the show today.
Oh, cool.
Mostly Kaya, who is the voice of um, balsamic vinegar and who animated an amazing scene in episode 1 that I still love to this day. And But however, it was made in June and it never really got anywhere. They mostly like wrote a couple scenes and then they kind of just forgot about it. So that was the end of that basically. And then I was in the crew, but I wasn't a creator of the show. I was just kind of with them. And I was always more motivated, not to say this as an insult, but I really did want to make a show. Like even if I didn't, it wasn't created by me. I was kind of like, all right, guys, wait. So is this happening or? And Alf took notice of that, and he still wanted to like make something. So he and I got together, and we thought about everything. We thought about the ideas from the old show, and we started like making it into something new in January of 2024. So, long story short, we took 6 of the original characters from that show. The 6 characters we kept were the Soy, Balsamic Vinegar, Orange Keycard, Smile Emoji, Party Mob, and Witness for Our Groups, the host. And then we came up with the 7 other characters, like just coming up with ideas. And these were the 13 characters that we decided on. And eventually, that was how Hype was born, the new Hype, and we slowly built off of that. The funniest thing is that I think I mentioned this yesterday, but for the audience, I'm mentioning how originally the vision behind the show was going to be more low effort than it actually ended up being. I think Team Room 125 was one of our inspirations, like just knowing just the concept of like a show with like I don't know 7-minute episodes and like being relatively easy to make was our main like priority. But as we started writing episode 1, Alf and I got like more and more ideas of like just interactions, and I mean it ended up as long as it was the final version, which was 21 minutes. That is how the Hype 2024, that's the history behind Hype 2023, and the version you know today, which is Hype 2024 technically, since it was in production for 2 years. Yeah.
It's fun how like you start with a certain idea. It's like we're just gonna do this like quick 7-minute hit episodes, done kind of thing. And it's like actually no, there's so many things we want to do. And then the first episode ends up being the same length as what you predicted would have been 3 episodes. So that's kind of
Yeah.
expanded it quite a bit. That's also really cool that the same little group as well that you started out with this idea with are all still part of the show as
They still
well.
home. Yeah.
That's great. I love that. That's awesome. This is always one of my favorite questions to ask. This one. So which? It's always a hard question sometimes as well, though. Which hype character / characters are your favorites, if you have any? I know it's not always easy to choose because I always used to say to people, these characters are like your children in a way, so it's hard to pick a favorite. But if you do have any, who are they, and which ones are kind of the most fun to write for?
Okay, I would definitely agree with the sentiment that these characters are kind of like my children. I mean, especially considering the fact that I had to latch onto them for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, that's part of the reason. Oh wait, that's related to another question, which I'll get into detail. But I mean, so much of like um of each character slowly started to become more and more like detailed like in my head as those 2 years passed, because like even okay, so for context, I mentioned that I feel I didn't mention that we had 2 friends, Xenetic and Dot, who also helped a lot with the like beginning of making the new show, and they also helped with like making the characters. So I wouldn't say that I really created this cast. And there are the 2 characters that I created like fully myself, like their personalities, and came up with like just the concept were Average Cheat and Movie Star. And the rest were created by other people that are still in the crew to this day. However, over time, I would say when we started making the show, so technically when episode 1 was written, I would say I definitely had bias towards the ones that I made. So Average Cheat, Movie Star, and also Orange Keycard because I voice him. But over time, considering the fact that these 2 years passed, like each character is like one by one, like slowly grown on me, like more and more, and that makes me really happy because I'm in a place where I know that there is many possibilities, with what I want to do with each character, especially since the show, will obviously take a while to make. It's not gonna be like 3 episodes. It's gonna be like a few. I mean, the amount is not 100% final, but for example, like you say, like 16 episodes, for example.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to do, and I'm obviously very excited to show off, not show off, but expand upon each one of them in their own designated time. Like obviously, in shows like these, you kind of have to. There's some episodes where you have to put some characters to the side, and some where they get the spotlight, and it kind of just you get to choose which one you want, and I can assure you that I made a promise to myself that each character will get. I mean, technically, a way you can look at it is that when the show ends, if it does, hopefully, each character in total will have an equal amount of screen time compared to each other.
Oh wow. Ooh.
It's a bit of a technically it's I guess you can consider it a spoiler. Not a spoiler, but you might be wondering, well, if some characters are gonna get eliminated, how are they gonna be able to get that screen time? Well, I can say you'll find out. Episodes 2 and 3, you will find out.
Interesting. Yeah. The elimination's always one of the
yeah.
interesting things for me because you never know how an elimination's going to go in an object show until the first elimination happens. So I'm
Yeah,
always sitting there biting my nails.
Well, no spoilers, but
No.
the result of episode 1's elimination definitely surprised me. It wasn't who I thought would get out at all.
Oh, interesting.
And also to finish off this question, while I wouldn't say I have a favorite character, I would say I'll say one character was my favorite to write for episode 2. I would say, well, you could consider that a spoiler, but you don't know what happens, so you can't know what happens if I just say a character. And I will say that it is the Soy, simply because when we wrote episode 1, the Soy was a character completely created by Alf, which I'm very thankful for. And back when we made the show and we were writing it, I still wasn't really sure how he was supposed to act, considering that I had never watched Omori Boy, and I didn't really understand the way like Alf described him. So I feel like the way he acts in the scenes that I wrote in episode 1 are very weird, and I would definitely have changed that if I were to rewrite the episode. So like getting to write episode 2 and like actually being satisfied with the way he acts is the reason why I would say I'm proud of him specifically. But it is an episode where you'll see a lot of everyone. To give a little hint, I guess.
All right, I like it. Spoilers, but not obviously. No,
yeah,
nothing big. Just no, it's fine. That's manageable. Oh, that was the Soy's one. Just like as soon as that character popped up, I was like, oh, geez, it's an Omori Boy reference in 2026.
Yeah,
let's
I'm
go.
really happy you noticed that.
Yeah, it's oh no, it gave me a giggle, that's for sure. Quite a lot of a lot of the stuff and a lot of the references in episode 1 were they just I don't know, they got a lot of smiles out of me, that's for sure. All right, so it's kind of sort of popped up a little bit with one of your previous responses there, but how far ahead is the hype story planned out? Is it right each episode that comes around? Is there a big story mapped out already, or is it kind of mix of both of those?
Well, to lean towards, I wouldn't say concretely one of the two, but I would say I'm definitely leaning towards it. A lot of it is already planned out. Well, I can't get into spoilers, but what I would describe is that throughout the 2 years that I was working on episode 1, the vision and like the how would I say, the tone and just generally what I want to do with the show started changing a lot. And I finally got to like actually, because throughout those 2 years, the only source of those ideas that I got to express was just like talking to Alf or like mentioning stuff in the crew server. But now, episode 2, I've definitely gone to write something that I think definitely reflects a little. I hope the change between episode 1 and episode 2 is a little is noticeable, but not obviously not to point where it feels like a different show, but to a point where you can kind of see how it's evolved from how it was written 2 years ago. And as to talk about like the plans specifically, I do have a lot of concrete plans. I do obviously nothing is final because like obviously also considering the fact that a show like this takes like several years to make, so obviously things can change.
Yes.
But I would say I do know how the show ends.
Oh, okay.
If I don't change it, which it can always change, but
right now, you know.
Ends. I do know. I do know what I want to do with each character, like how this character ends. Like no, not ends, but whatever thing will be the priority for whenever that character gets a focus in screen time, what they'll focus on. And there's one specific thing that I will say marks a point where the show it marks a change in the show, and I have that concretely has been in my head for like 2 years. And well, unfortunately you won't see it anytime soon, but you'll see it eventually.
It's one of those you'll know when you see it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah, and it's fun. It's like, especially like, I can imagine it's sometimes hard to plan stuff out too far in advance, especially when you've got like viewer voting going on. So it's like you can't determine which contestants' characters are going to be right. But that's why you've already kind of mentioned as well, though, the fact that like each character is going to have their story to tell. So it's like So it's like it's good because it lets the viewers still have their interaction, but it also still gives you the control over still telling the stories you want to tell. Yeah. So I think you've got that good balance going on there from how you've explained it so far, for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I would say like planning stuff out is definitely hard considering how writing this episode 2, was very, very. It was difficult because it had been so long since I wrote episode 1 that I just didn't know, like, it's not that I didn't know how to write, but it was just like so hard to concretely start like working on it.
Yeah, especially when you wrote the first episode, so like that, like quite a while ago, and then the production of everything, and then getting back like, right now I need to do this writing thing again.
Yeah. It was kind of a writer's block where I knew what I wanted the episode to be about, like what the challenge was. I decided pretty early on, but like the events in between, and like I knew how the episode ends. I just didn't know what to put in between, and I had to think, and I was just like overwhelmed, frankly. But then when I went to New York, a little before I went to New York, I finally started writing again, and I actually wrote this entire episode on my phone whenever I had free time in my grandparents' house while I was staying in New York. And I mean, I got it done, so
wow,
I'm finally happy with that.
That's awesome. That was good to mention before things kicked off with the questions and stuff. The fact that me and Agus were this close to actually meeting up, but there was just a couple hours difference when we were at the event.
I was really sad because I would have 100% tried to go, but like during that time I was hanging out with other friends, so it would have like depended on them too.
Yeah, and that's
pretty late.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's what happened on the Saturday too. We'd have stayed hanging around the meetup for like longer on the Saturday, but then I had a friend from Philly who was coming up to New York to specifically see me, so it's like, I had to duck out. But it's fine. We're talking now, so it's all good. And there's plenty of other. Well, fingers crossed, there'll be plenty of other meetups in the future. Of course. It's like as long as they keep doing it, I'll keep going.
BFDI goes bankrupt.
Oh no!
Never know.
Just trying to. We're not willing that into existence, by the way. If that actually happens, don't blame us. That wasn't on us. We didn't do that.
Yeah, we didn't hack into anything. Don't worry.
Nope, not as far as you know. Anyway, nope, wasn't us. It was someone else. 100%.
Yep. Actually, sabotaging the big shows. So eventually, mine will be the biggest in the community. they'll all get canceled, and mine will be the only one left, and that's my evil plan.
That would be a good object show concept. Someone go around trying to take out all of the other object shows.
That randomly got me thinking. This is like really random, but on the topic of the meetup, I had an idea what if there was an object show that had like a super meta challenge where the challenge was to go into a meetup and then get the most leaks possible. And then so they had to like bring cameras and stuff. I got that concept one day, and I've never gotten to use it for anything, so it'll just be here.
Just keep that one to the side. That might come in handy someday. So as has been mentioned a couple of times, because Hype started production, well, episode 1 started production quite a while ago, it's kind of full of jokes from back when that writing was done. I personally got a good laugh about all of that stuff. So is that something you're going to stick with going forwards, or are you going to kind of drag the show kicking and screaming into kind of more modern references going forwards?
Well, I have I don't know if this is the answer you were expecting, but it's actually neither. I would say that if we're talking, okay, it's for context, well, I don't know if this counts as spoilers, but just a general direction, a part of the new direction I wanted to take for the show is that while these characters are all started as like inside jokes and like references, they are still, characters. And hopefully, obviously, as the way the viewers have known about the show, obviously they don't know the characters as well as like obviously no viewer that has watched episode 1 knows anything of like all the plans that I have like had in my head. So going forward, I really just want to like show each character, just showing them, being the best way I can describe it is that prove that these characters can still feel somewhat real, I guess. They can still feel like real people. And I think I want to stray away from like just having simple like reference humor. Obviously, I still love to do like I wouldn't say there's any in episode 2, but I still love like if I ever get the opportunity to do like a homage to like the things that the show originates from. Like for example, Orange Key Card is a reference to Garden of Bandman, or Big Eatus is a reference to Fall Guys. There's two like popular video games, and if I ever get the chance to like sneak in a little nod to those things, I would definitely love to, because I have to be thankful for it's what like these characters started as.
Yeah.
But I think like reference humor is something that should only happen when it makes sense for it to happen. Otherwise, it should be like different types of humor that the show should use.
No, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. And I like that concept as well. It's like, yeah, these characters, we might recognize them from certain games or memes or whatever, but yeah, giving them a bit more, for want of a better word, humanity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Is really good. It's the same kind of thing. It's kind of like object shows in general with that. It's like this character is just this specific object, but then they have a personality and they are their own entire character. It's not just it's not just a leaf. It's not just a glass of orange juice. It's a with the whole personality behind them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think obviously there has to be, when you're making a show like this, you kind of have to be self-aware, because like for example, if you take Big Eatus, I mean, his name is Big Eatus. Like there's a certain extent where you can't take him seriously because that's what he is. But it hasn't, when I say that I want the characters to be more human, I don't necessarily mean in a way where you see like these very super extremely deep moments, but it's just like show the viewer that there's different sides to all of them, all 13 of them.
Yeah.
And I'd say, well, you see some of that in episode 2, and I mean, you'll definitely see more of it going forward. So it's one of the reasons why I'm very excited to continue making the show, obviously.
Heck yeah. Oh, and we're excited to see it. That's for sure. All right, so we've already mentioned a couple of other shows, but Which other shows in the OSC are you a fan of, and were any particularly inspiring to you? Might have a couple of familiar names pop up here.
Well, I feel like on the subject of a show that has been inspiring, I feel like there's no better show to start with than the little sibling show to Hype, which is Fight for Fortune.
Yes.
I obviously, I wouldn't say, obviously, I didn't have as big of a hand in making Hype for Fortune as I did Hype, but I was there since the very, very beginning, um, of the creation of the show because one day me and Lily started revisiting um, the old concepts from for context, Fight for Fortune was technically made in 2020 when Lily was just a little baby, but it obviously it was canceled. But we started revisiting that, and Lily got the motivation to like just bring it back and to make it into something new, just like how Hype was technically.
Mm.
And because of that, I mean, I've been very happy to technically be have made a very big part in the making of not just one show but two. That's why I'm very happy. I think, funnily enough, the two shows share multiple things in common. They both have 12 contestants, and they both have a very interesting star character. However, I think the two shows, thinking about like what possibilities could happen, because for context, for the people watching this, there was if you go to my channel, there was the first crossover short um, for specifically the BFDI meetup, and I definitely want to continue making those going forward because I really like the concept of these two shows that are so technically different. I wouldn't say like freaking revolutionizingly two opposite sides of a coin, but you can make the argument that like FF seems a little more like the characters are way more exaggerated, while in Hype they might seem a little bit more normal, or the setting of the show being Hype being a little bit more otherworldly with Windows for Workgroups, the host being this like supernatural computer, while the difference of Fire for Fortune, the host star, just being like a washed up actor, just a regular guy who is who kind of hates what he's doing. But I think there's a lot. I mean, obviously because Lily has given me a great opportunity to like always sometimes write for the show. So I would say that I know both characters from both shows very well, and just seeing all of them lined up together makes me really happy. 27 of them in total, if you're counting the host.
Yeah, shout out to Lily and Fight for Fortune. Awesome show, which you should all go and check out if you haven't watched it, by the way. Really good.
On topic of other shows that I would say that I really enjoy or were inspired to me, I would say weirdly enough, I think still one of my favorite object shows ever is Animatic Battle. I'm not exactly sure if I would say anything from Animatic Battle inspired the making of Hype, but I mean, I still do love that show so much because while Hype was being made, episodes 1 to 3 dropped pretty close to each other, like in the span of like a few months, and I mean, seeing those like it. I really loved it. I mean, I don't know. I keep saying it in the past tense. Not that I dislike it. I still think those are amazing episodes, and I wouldn't say they inspired how the show is, but they inspired me to like motivate me.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially since it felt like I was watching Pre-Split again, as like someone who grew up with Pre-Split. Not that saying that Animatic Battle is just like Pre-Split, but I'm just saying that it felt like it was the same. You took the core concept of like these 64 characters in like a simple setting and made it into something great, just like Pre-Split did.
Yeah.
And there are different ways. I mean, if I were to mention any other shows, I have technically the first object show I ever worked on, that came out was Fossil by my friend Flaming.
Oh.
I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it is a great show. The same guy, he has two shows. He has Fossil and Green Ice Cube, who are one of them is unironically amazing. The other is both unironically and ironically amazing. And yeah, I would love for him to like get more recognition because he helped me a lot. And other shows that I've also been well, and technically not in a lot of crews, but I am in the It's Time for the Crew, and seeing it, just how it evolved throughout like so many years was amazing. Like I would say the last two episodes, ITFT 9 and ITFT 10, were one of my favorite, like some of my favorite episodes to come out of the OSC, like recently, like ever, because I feel like it has such a unique style with like both the lore, like quote unquote. I feel like using the word lore is like very general these days because of how people use it, but I mean it's still true. Like everything that the world building is one of the best that I've seen in any show. Just because like the TV channel, the concept of these TV channels like creating a different universe, and the way it uses that is very amazing. And honestly, part of it was inspiring as well, just on a motivational like level. And considering how so many of my friends were a part of the crew before I was, made me feel like, oh wow, I could be a part of this. Not a part of ITFC specifically, just like a part of making something great. And on a general scale.
Yes. Oh, and I do 100% agree with the last two episodes of ITFT as well, specifically, because you always felt like there was something building up there, but those last two episodes have really kind of gone kind of beyond. It's just like, just really phenomenal stuff. And I could totally see how that would be motivational to someone who's making a show of their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And haven't heard of Fossil, but have heard of Green Ice Cube. It's been brought up by a few people I know, and I have not gotten around to checking it out because, again, I was like, it was on my radar, but at the same time, I was like, it was one of those maybe sometime when I get around to it kind of thing. But
Eventually,
generally, when people mention shows during these interviews, I'm like, well, that's kind of the extra nudge, I guess. Fine, if if someone I'm talking to recommends it in an interview, I'm like, okay,
yeah.
all right then. So yeah, I might push them up my list a little bit.
Actually, very curious. Well, I know you're the one asking the questions, but do you have any like memory as to how specifically hype was on the radar for Object Show Roundup? Because
That's a good. How did it come into my circle? Ooh.
I saw a few mentions of people saying like it was recommended it to them a lot, like on the YouTube, like recommended, and that surprised me a lot because my channel had like no videos before then.
Yeah, it's funny how sometimes the YouTube thing does seem to work and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I covered Fight for Fortune 6 episodes before I talked about hype, so I'm wondering if it was actually Lily mentioning it.
Oh yeah, they did make a community post.
That's probably is how it happened. And that's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, I think it's probably because I covered Fight for Fortune first.
That makes sense.
So I think that's what it happens a lot. There's so many situations where I get pointed in the direction of a show by someone who's also made a show, and that's generally what happens. Or every now and again, I get a random email now and again from someone saying, "Hey, you should check this show out." But generally, it is just this kind of like object show osmosis. It's just like, hey, yeah, you watch my show, that's awesome. Hey, you should check this show out that my friend does because it's awesome as well. That's generally how a lot of it goes. And like I say, I also have a list, and it's like it is all dependent. It's like I find it really fun to get in on shows when the first episodes are just coming out. So like I do have some shows that were recommended to me that have got like 4 or 5 episodes, and it could take me like an hour and a half to watch all of them. It's like I will do that, but it's just I know it'll take me a bit longer to digest that than if I just watch one episode of something that's just come out.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm also aware, of course, that the longer I wait to watch the ones that have been recommended to me, then more episodes will come out. And then it's like I'm going to fall further behind. So at some point, I am going to have to start catching up with those ones. And that was what I was meant to do during my vacation. That I was just, it's my last day of my vacation. And guess what? I did not do barely any of what I was meant to do during this vacation.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did watch a couple of things, but nowhere near as much as I wanted to. All right, if you could do a crossover episode with any other show, which one would you pick? And
Oh,
on top of that, is there any other just creators you'd like to work with? It's kind of a two-pronged question, right? There's the crossovers and which other creators would be cool to work with.
Well, this will be this is a really funny question. I guess I can try to pretend like I haven't already done a crossover with another show.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, obviously, I would love to keep doing, as I mentioned, the crossovers with Fight for Fortune as much as I could, because obviously I love both the Fight for Fortune cast and the Hype cast are just, I mean, they have grown on me for several years now. Several years now,
Mm-hmm.
and just continuing. I mean, doing the funny thing is that crossover short was made in 2 days. It was kind of rushed. No, I had to rush it because the meetup was on July 11th, and I posted that video on July 8th, I think.
Uh-huh.
At 3, I had the idea for it, but I never actually. I wrote the script like one day at one of the days I was staying at my grandparents' house in the bed at like 2 a.m. And then I sent the script to Penny, who's the voice of WFW, and Avicon, who is the creator and voice of Shrimpy. I was like, hey, this might. I know this is because they said they could do it beforehand. I asked them, so I was like, hey, I know this is a bit short notice, but do you think you can get these lines in a few days? They were like, oh yeah, we can do it, and then he did it. And I was like very very thankful. I owe them a lot for being able to make that show happen, as well as Lily, who voiced movie star and Dollar, and Will, who is the voice of Star. And for that reason, thank you for the voice actors that the crossover is actually able to happen on time. And I definitely want to continue doing them. Obviously, with more notice before.
Preferably.
Contrary to this time. Preferably. I mean, in terms of other shows that I would love to collab with, I mean, I never really thought about like, oh, it would be cool if if this person like reached out to me. But I mean, I did mention that Animatic Battle was like one of my favorite shows ever. So I mean, if somehow that like got to happen, I'll be like, well, I mean, say no less, I'll do it. Obviously, well, there is one last thing where a lot of people, a lot of people have noticed that there's a certain character shared in common with both It's Time for the and for Hype, which is the character of Shrimpy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it sounds basically obvious to one day acknowledge that. Me and Alf were talking about it. Well, have talked about it a few days, and if we ever got the opportunity to do something related to that, I would 100% want to. I mean, it's only fitting.
Yeah, right. Of course. Shrimpy is an awesome character too. I mean, they're all awesome.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong. I love all of them.
Yeah, it's fun. On the topic of that, like, there's like, I mean, I can go right now in YouTube Studio and count how many comments there are asking that. I was like, wait, isn't that shrimp from my TFT, or am I going crazy? Wait, I can try to go there really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, well, not all of them, but there's 17 comments that have the word shrimpy in it. So I mean, probably like a little more than half of them are probably like being a little confused. It's like, wait, isn't that the? I think I recognize that guy.
It's never a bad thing having a character like that in your show. Like, it certainly gets a conversation going, doesn't it?
Yeah, and a lot of people have been wondering, like, what are the logistics? Like, because obviously it's time for the plays a lot with the idea of like traveling through different universes.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have been wondering, and it'll definitely be explained in the future.
Cool. So there's the answer to that, everybody. So now you can stop asking for now. I know you won't,
For now.
though. I know they won't. They won't.
I forgot. Is there any other show crossover with? Oh well, I mean, I don't know what's happening with that, but Object Overload was said to be coming back eventually, which I'm not sure if that's being worked on anymore.
Hmm.
But hypothetically, if they did come back, that would be my number one like if I ever got to like even be a part of that, like it would be like one of my I'd be more than honored considering it was the first ever object show I watched. And I think that the object oh wait, I guess I forgot to mention it when I talked about my favorite shows, but the first ever object show episode I watched was the reboot of Object Overload. Um and the first episode because there was only one episode.
Hmm.
And that's one of my favorite object show episodes ever. Think it still holds up to this day. The animation I think is one of the best. It's one of the best animated episodes I've ever seen in the OSC. Just because like Niall Ikigzani Leaves is like one of the my personal like favorite animators I've seen. Just because the style is so good. Alongside TT guy who also I'm not sure if he worked on that episode specifically, but it just makes me think of him since he probably had a part in like the animation of the reboot. Not the reboot, but like that one video that they said that Object Overload was gonna come back. So yeah, I still think it holds up to this day, and it's one of my greatest inspirations to like get better at animating. I
Hmm.
forgot to mention that I realized, which obviously would have been my top priority to talk about. I mean,
I mean, you didn't forget, like you didn't forget after this video was done, so that's fine. You remembered
of
before
course,
before I
yeah.
hit the stop recording button. So there you go. It still counts. All right, time for you to be a mentor now. Do you have any advice for anybody who's looking to start working on their own show, or even looking to just join a team? Any kind of like pro tips, little pearls of wisdom?
Okay, so well, this might sound a little harsh, but um, none of what I say antagonistically or in a mean way. I'd say don't be um never get a little too if you're making your own show, never get a little too dependent on other people.
Hmm.
Even when you're making something with friends, which is obviously great, and every single like contribution that a friend made for episode one, I'm extremely thankful for. However, I had to most of like the work was just done by me like over slowly, very slowly over the course of like 2 years. And yeah, it did took a while, but I think there's definitely a bright side to doing things by yourself. Like not just like everything by yourself, like being like, okay, I don't need your help. Because it is always great to accept help from other people. But like if you have a friend who like is busy and can't like get a certain amount of work done in a um section of time, there's nothing wrong with that. You can just say like, hey, it's fine. I can there's no rush. There shouldn't be a rush, especially when you're making a first episode. Obviously, if you're like getting paid or something, then okay, I think you have a little bit more of an excuse to be like in panic mode. But obviously, when um, if you're making a first episode, just for fun, um, j- I guess the lesson, quote unquote lesson, that I can give is that throughout making that first episode, you'll truly know if it's something that you're passionate about. Because if you're there, if you feel I guess like you want to if you feel like you're okay with spending as much time as possible, then that's a great thing because yes, it's gonna take a while, but you'll know that it's something that you'll be passionate about. And I can assure you, like when you'll see it finally come to completion, it'll be amazing. I mean, that's how I felt with episode one. Like I made it. I looked up the video on my TV so I could watch the premiere as it was airing, and I mean, it was great. I would also say um, another good thing from doing things by yourself is that you'll slowly be able to improve on whatever you're doing, whether it's like animation, audio editing, or voice acting. Especially on the animation side, I mean, from my personal experience, just animating throughout the course of those um, 2 years, it got me to improve because I used to like animate a lot with like tweens and stuff. And throughout November of 2025, I started experimenting more with like frame by frame animation, which was definitely a good call since I feel like it allowed me to be like way more expressive and have the characters' movements be more dynamic. And if you spend a long time working on a show, or just like if you spend any of your free time just experimenting in Adobe Animate or whatever animation program that you use by yourself, I can assure you that the results are going to be amazing because you'll get to test out so many different things and you'll figure out what you like and what you don't like to do. And you also figure out ways to animate faster. Like for example, um one of the scenes, I don't know why, I guess I was just lazy at the time, but like one of the scenes for episode 1 was like 27 seconds, but like I just slowly did it over the course of like 1 month. I mean, obviously I was probably very lazy during that time, in that like period where I was just animating very slow. But in comparison, I usually animate a lot for the FFF episodes, and there was like a 2 minute long scene that I did like in a week,
Oh,
even when I had to go to school. So I'm just like, and that was like in April, no, in May of 2026. So just like a little comparison to show that over time, I figured out like how I have an easier time animating, like what techniques, quote unquote, I use. And if someone, like I said, if you spend any free time with yourself, anyone can figure out what preferences they have while working. It just takes time, and it's never a bad thing for it to take time, as long as you're enjoying yourself. Obviously, I think that's pretty obvious.
that is one of the biggest parts. It's like if you're not enjoying it, it's like, well,
Yeah.
it makes it a bit harder to kind of like. And then if you're not enjoying it, you're not going to get it done as quick because you're obviously going to be maybe doing it for a bit and then going, oh, I need to step away from this, and then the stepping away takes longer, like lasts longer every time. And yeah, the whole basically it's the practice makes perfect, right? When it comes to like just
Yeah.
learning these tips and tricks for yourself and just plugging away and doing it. It's the same on my end with the editing software, right? When I do videos and stuff, I've figured out how to get stuff done slightly quicker every time, because just by using the program more, and it's kind of the same for anything you do. It's like just dive into it, mess around with it, and see what works, what doesn't work, and yeah, good stuff.
Oh yeah, and another reason why taking time is great is um obviously figuring out what you want to do, like if you have a show like, and you have like a specific character, figuring out what you want to do with like, you know, I feel like getting better at writing also takes time because I remember this I remember when during the wait during like one of the a few months after episode 1 was written, well, I was like bored. I just like wrote like a hypothetical like beginning to like episode 2. And like now that I'm thinking about it, I just like, man, that was not. I still have the document, and that was not good at all. Not because, mostly because for example, I would say in that like old draft where I just like tested stuff, I was very, I just stuck with like what was in episode 1, just based it off of that instead of like trying new things. So I think taking time also helps you like just figure out anything new that could be beneficial to putting in your show. And you should definitely shouldn't be afraid to experiment. Just like how just like with animation, you shouldn't be afraid to experiment like anything, like trying like voice acting. A lot of people can have like difficulties when it comes to like um someone can say that they have bad range, but it obviously takes practice, like just trying out different voices and seeing what you're capable of doing without like obviously ruining your voice. Obviously you shouldn't go there.
No.
But if you I would say that I also improved like how I voice acted, not because of hype, because well, there's only one episode so far, but because of FFF, throughout these 3 episodes, I'd say that the way I voice acted Microphone, who's the character I voice in FFF, changed a lot and for the better. So yeah, I would say um, the idea that you shouldn't be afraid to take time applies to like any part of making a show, not just animation.
Yes. Solid Solid advice. And a nice range of things as well. Talked about there as well. I like that. Animation and voice acting and all the stuff. That's cool.
I mean,
Stuff.
I wouldn't say I'm a professional voice actor or anything, so obviously take anything I say with a grain of salt. But from my personal experience,
I mean, ruining the voice, don't ruin your voice is good advice. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'll definitely take that advice. There are definitely people out there who do characters and they absolutely, you could tell that they really, really rough their voice up a lot. And it's like, ooh, that's, yeah, you're going to pay for that.
I mean, it makes if it's for the quality of the show, you know, you want to have someone you want to have someone with a bracelety voice.
Oh,
I mean, you can
jeez.
make that sacrifice, but
Mm.
you have to be smart about it. You can't. I would say, you know, your well-being obviously matters, especially, and that can apply to animation as well. If you spend like 10 hours locked in your room, you should probably like just take small breaks. I mean, even at my extreme when I was animating, I think I finished like um 2 small like 30-second scenes in one day, which was the most I've ever done. I was like, it was hard, especially since those scenes like in my head were like, oh, this is simple. Like it's just like the characters talking. There's not that much action, so it'll be easy to make. But you know, it's still good to take a break once in a while because it does get tiring, even if what you're doing is quote unquote very simple as to comparing it to like other complicated, what you might like consider complicated in an animation.
Yeah. Oh, geez, taking breaks. That's just another sort of like, yeah, definitely taking breaks regardless of what you do. It's like I sometimes get so locked in on. Again, all I really do is edit stuff. I mean, the recording of the thing, I do that in one shot, but the editing thing, I do as well. And I was like, I'm going to take myself a little bit of time upstairs, you know, maybe
Yeah.
sit outside for like 10 minutes or something, just to, because if you do try and do it all, and again, that's another way to like. That's another way you could start losing motivation if you try and push through and do everything all at once. You might start getting in your head a bit too
Oh yeah,
much, right?
definitely.
Yeah, definitely take a breaks.
Um,
More
I would
solid
say I
ones.
have the habit of taking a little too much breaks. Not that it's a bad thing. I just get very distracted easily. I have a habit of just like walking around my house and doing nothing,
Oh,
just because
same.
I find it very satisfying. But I would just like animate like for like 10 minutes and be like, all right, I'm just gonna go walk a little bit and then I'll be back, and I just keep doing that on like several stances, which I guess is fine. But obviously, there should be a point where you should be you should be working enough to feel like you've made progress, so you feel fulfilled with yourself instead
Hmm.
of like just being a little disappointed.
I find that setting yourself a little target's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when I'm doing my stuff, like the process is, you know, I'll watch an episode of something. It's like, right, I've got to do these notes on these episodes. It's like, right, as long as I get notes on this specific thing done by the end of like the afternoon or the day, then I can have my little walks around the house and stand and stare out the kitchen window for 5 minutes at nothing, right? Which is what I tend to do. I just go wander upstairs, get a glass of water, stand and just stare at the shed. Like, I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at the outside world for a while.
It's very how would you define is therapeutic
Yes.
in a way.
Yes, that's what it
And I
is.
enjoy.
It's like anything that's not a screen, because we spend so much of our lives looking at screens, you know, even outside of
Yeah.
doing out what we do as well. So it's just like it's just nice to look at something that's just not
Yeah.
gonna hurt my eyes. Oh, that could be a me thing.
Yeah. Same thing with like wearing headphones because like if I wear them too much, my ears will like start to get sore,
Mm,
and it comes to a point where I just like have to like okay, I'll just lay down for a while so they can like not hurt.
yeah, I try not to wear them too much. I've got some on right now, but that's I try not to keep them on for
Well,
too
it's
long
different
now.
because you need professional headwear for
Right,
interviews like these.
right.
Yeah.
Mm. Right, I guess it's time to start wrapping things up. So this is kind of your kind of free for all kind of thing now. Do you have any little final thoughts? Any words for the hype fans? Any shout out for anybody? Go for it. Floor's yours.
Okay, well, I would say message for the hype fans, if any of you guys are watching this. Sorry, episode 2 gonna take a while. Okay, I'm sorry again. I probably should have been a little smarter when deciding how long I wanted to take a break, but I mean, we talked about it. It's always a good thing, and I promise, like episode 1, it should all be worth the wait. Um, this one will be worth the wait as well. I promise. If any of you are watching this, um, I guess it's like my panic mode moment. But again, well, first of all, I wanted to thank you because I'm very happy to just like be expressing like literally anything like ideal wise that I've had for the show, considering how, I had to keep it all not bottled up completely, but I mean, getting to show it, not show, but express it towards any other place that's like not just like a Discord server is amazing. And I love some of the best moments, not best moments, but the easiest ways that I've had like expressing my ideas has just been like when I was on a call with my friends, like Lily, for example. We've had like several calls where we just like talk about like FFF or hype, like just any of the ideas that we've had, and it helps a lot. So doing it here, is great. It really is.
Okay.
I would say, I guess, shout outs. Oh wait, I just remembered that there was one last shout out I wanted to make. Well, not shout out. I'm not like some big creator who like. I'm not like Carrie and Michael who have a Q&A crown and say, Carrie and Michael, can you give a shout out to my YouTube channel? And then they're like, well, gladly. What is it called again? Which, I mean, if I get there, I would love to do that in like one of the characters' voices. I just think the concept of that's like really funny. But I would say one last thing that I forgot to mention. I did mention it because it is a little unrelated to like object shows themselves. There's a channel called well, Lily, creator of Fight for Fortune, also has a channel with her friend Will and my friend Will called Garden Grove, where they primarily make like Undertale and Deltarune content, but they also have like animated segments in their videos. And I got to meet Will because of like mutual friends and also because he works on Fight for Fortune. And his animation is frankly what got me to, I mean, you could check the animation for yourself in Garden Grove and in FFF, and it's one of the things that got me to experiment more with frame by frame. So I would say that, I would love to like, I owe a lot to him, and also, I mean, your inspiration cannot just be like the shows that you love watching, but just your own friends, which is great to see whenever it happens. Is there anything else? Well, I can talk about myself a little more but I think we might be running out of time. We can make this the Agus show, but guys, I'll be humble today. Just spare you guys a little. We can all always be back. If anyone, you guys can ask for it. You guys can ask, where's the second Agus interview? I'll talk about my whole biography. If any of you guys want that, which obviously you do, right, guys? Right, guys?
I was going to see how long I could just leave you hanging and going and going and going and going. I'm just saying. It's like, yeah, we'll bring you back for a second interview, and I'll keep my camera. I'll keep my camera off. I'll keep my mic off, and it's just you just talk. You just go for it.
And I just talk about like random things, like, so have you guys checked the situation all right, guys. All right, changed my mind. Mikey, help me out here. I don't know what to talk about.
I do appreciate the fact that you were like, I could keep talking about myself, but I think we're running out of time. Like, cool. Thank you, Agus, for telling me we're running out of time on my own show. That's very appreciated.
Yeah, see, as the
you're the timekeeper.
I'm actually becoming the second host.
Yes,
of show interviews.
That's what's happening. Agus is going to be here. Surprise. Agus is going to be here every time from now on. So
every single time he's going to be in the corner.
Yeah,
I'm actually going to be in real life. Like, let's be in the corner, like creepily staring.
Let's just be stood behind me.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, this has been a delight. It's like it's always funny because every time before like any interviews happened with anybody and stuff, it's always like I'm always super nervous every time, and like I always, and even during the whole recording, I'm always still super nervous the entire time. And then when it all gets wrapped up at the end, I'm like, well, that was super fun every single time, and this has been no exception. This is I've had a blast talking to you. It's been really fun.
Of course. I mean, I feel like I owe a lot of that to the New York meetup because for context, I met up with like a group of like 10 friends, and when you get ready to talk to them, you don't know how it's gonna be. Like, what if it's like really awkward? But in my situation, it wasn't. So I learned that it's always good to like at least, and this is coming from me who like I feel like I've improved, but like as a kid, I was like really like not social at all. So it never does any harm to try your best to like open up as much as you can to someone because it most of the time it ends up being great. And obviously that's the case for like, this interview.
Yes,
If I do say so
yeah,
myself.
yes. Oh no, it's fine. I also agree, and I had the same kind of feeling at the meetup too, because there's people I knew who said they were going to be there, who were like, "Oh, it'll be cool to see you," and I was like, "Yeah, it would be." I feel really awkward about like it's like I joked with several people saying like after what I thought was an awkward exchange saying, and this is why I'm not allowed out in public because of these awkward. But see, it all went really well. So it's one of those things where it's like I agree with you as well. It's like it's natural to feel nervy and like if that's how. And I was exactly the same. I was the super massively introverted kid sitting at the back of the
Yeah.
class at school. And I know, hard to believe, isn't it? Since all I do now is talk. That's all I do ever.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things. It's like pushing your own boundaries a little bit and getting used. Like it helps you to not just when it comes to communicating with people, but it helps you with other things too. It opens doors, right? So,
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This has been great.
Of course.
And well, like I know you already said, Hype 2 is going to be a while, but whenever it's done, I'll be there, front and center. I'll be watching it.
Oh, and
100%.
I forgot to mention, during your roundup episode on Hype, you said something about the host that made me really, really intrigued as to what your opinion would be on the future of the show, just in general.
Oh, interesting.
As
I
I don't know if you're gonna be surprised or if you're gonna be not surprised, but I'm very excited to like just see your thoughts.
Ooh. All right. Well, they'll be coming sometime after the episode lands. So
Yeah. 2 years, nothing else. No, I'm joking.
2030, everybody. You heard it here first.
Episode 2.
Oh, jeez. Well, thank you, Agus, again for being here. And
yeah.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe you will be back again sometime in the future. Who knows? There's always time for second interviews sometime down the line. You never know.
Always time.
Yeah.
There could always be the ultimate interview crossover where it's every single guest and they all talk at the exact same time, so you can't understand anything.
And that's the rule. Nobody's allowed to talk on their own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's all cross talking all the time.
Yeah, it's all right. If you stop talking, you gotta go.
That's it. Yeah. If you stop talking, you get cut off the call. Done. Last person still talking is the winner of that.
Right. Got to bring my A game for this one.
Last person talking is the winner, and they get to take over Object Show Roundup. There we go. Done.
Right. And glad we settled that one.
Oh, jeez. All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you haven't watched Hype yet, well, you've watched this entire interview and not watched Hype, then I don't know what you're doing. You should go watch Hype, obviously.
It's a little weird.
It's a little bit strange, but if you haven't watched it for some weird reason, you definitely should. But also Fight for Fortune too, because, again, that's also
of course,
awesome. Yeah, of course. You got to watch both of those shows. All right. Thanks again, Agus, and thank you, everyone, for watching. I'll see you all next time.